Yeshua often spoke in parables, as he did in Matthew chapter 22. The first 14 verses are about the parable of the wedding banquet. We can see from this parable Yeshua is saying the kingdom of heaven will be like this. Once more Yeshua spoke to them in parables. He said, "The kingdom of heaven is like a king who decided to throw a magnificent wedding feast for his son." This wasn't just any celebration, it was a grand event, a symbol of love and commitment. The king sent out invitations to people far and wide. He eagerly awaited their arrival, anticipating a palace brimming with happy guests celebrating his son's new beginning. However, as the day of the grand feast arrived, a wave of disappointment washed over the king. The guests whom had received a personal invitation declined his offer. We see this in verse 4. It says, "Again he sent other servants, and he said, 'Tell those invited, behold, my banquet is ready, and my oxen and my fatlings are killed. Everything is prepared. Come to the wedding feast.' But the guests he had invited ignored them and went their own way, one to his farm, another to his business. One by one, they listed excuses, work, business, personal matters, anything to avoid the celebration. In verse 6, the rest seized his servants, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his army and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, 'The wedding feast is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.'" Despite the king's generosity and the significance of the occasion, many guests chose to ignore the invitation. Their refusal wasn't simply about missing a party. It reflected a deeper disregard for the king and his son. They prioritized worldly concerns over the eternal significance of the invitation, missing the true meaning of the celebration. Faced with such disregard, the king could have reacted with anger. However, his love and grace knew no bounds. Instead of punishing those who refused, he opened the doors to everyone. He commanded his servants to go into the streets, inviting the poor, the crippled, the blind, anyone they could find to fill his banquet hall. The king represents Yahweh, our loving Father, while the son symbolizes Yeshua. The wedding feast signifies the kingdom of heaven, offered freely to all who accept the invitation. The invited guests in this context represent each one of us. We are all invited to partake in Yah's love and grace. The Son's wedding is a momentous occasion, a union of divine love and human experience. It signifies Yahweh's desire for a close relationship with humanity. The King's immense love for his Son is reflected in his desire to share the joyous event with everyone. Among the new guests, one man stood out. He had entered the feast without a wedding garment, a symbol of respect and honor for the occasion. When questioned by the king, the man remained speechless. He had accepted the invitation but failed to prepare himself adequately, highlighting that merely showing up wasn't enough. The king's actions teach us that Yahweh's love is inclusive and boundless. He continually seeks us out, extending his invitation of grace and salvation. However, we must also remember that accepting this invitation requires preparation. We must clothe ourselves in faith, humility, and love, embracing the values of his kingdom.